So when I was thinking about this project, I was thinking, now what could I do? What would be a good old-fashioned classic American cocktail that I could share with you to start with? And then it struck me, old-fashioned. Now, you may or may not know what old-fashioned is. It's really a classic drink. It goes way back to the early 1800s. People would drink cocktails. They called everything a cocktail. They would drink that in the morning. And what that was they would just take a glass, put some sugar in it, a couple splashes of bitters. This is just like bitters are basically just like it's like an elixir. It has like roots and fruit rind and herbs and stuff. And I think a lot of it is like it's like a digestive type thing. But they would mix the sugar and the bitters, a little splash of water, throw a lot of liquor in it, and put a twist of lemon in it, and call it a cocktail, and that was it. And they used everything back then. They used gin, brandy, rye, rum, whiskey, and it really resembled nothing like what we think of when we think of old-fashioned today. Now, when I used to tend bar, the old-fashions, they became, the way I always made them, was like the fruity, syrupy, sweet drink, and it wasn't really like a classic whiskey drink. And how that came to be was, fast forward from those days in the early 1800s to the Prohibition era in the early 20s and 30s of the 1900s. People still wanted to drink, but obviously liquor was illegal. So they had to go to the smoke-filled dark speakeasies to drink. And granted, the liquor that we have today is nothing like what they had back then. It really wasn't very palatable at all. You heard the expression bathtub gin. They were really just getting it anywhere they could. So the bartenders had to make drinks and spruce them up to make them a little more palatable. So they mixed the fruits and the syrups and everything just to kind of mask the flavor of the alcohol. And what people would do, they say, give me a whiskey cocktail and make it the old-fashioned way. And what that was this drink with the bitters and the sugar, and then they would just jazz it up with the fruit and stuff to make it more palatable so the customers could get it down. So, let's make a couple old-fashions. I'm going to make one the old-fashioned whiskey cocktail way, and I'm going to make one the more newer fangled way that I used to make it when I used to tend bar. So, for the old-fashioned whiskey cocktail way, you need a glass, a smallish glass. It doesn't have to be real big. What I'm going to do is just going to take a little spoon of sugar, or if you have a sugar cube, that's even better. Some bitters. Again, you can just find this at the regular supermarket. A couple dashes of bitters. Not much, because this stuff is pretty strong. A little tiny splash of water, and then I'm going to muddle that together. Now you can really use anything for that. You can just use a regular spoon. This happens to be a bar spoon. You can use a muddler, which is what I'm going to use, and basically this is just kind of like if you're familiar with like a mortar and pestle for cooking, this is just like the pestle part. If you don't have this, you can use that mortar, the pestle out of your kitchen set, or you can just use the back end of a wooden spoon. It's going to work the same. And you just want to muddle that in there. Basically, at this point, you're just trying to dissolve the sugar in there with the water and the bitters. And it's not going to completely dissolve, but you just mix it in there a little bit. Get that in there, and then you want to take a little bit of ice. You don't want, if you have one big ice cube, you can use that. I think that's a little big for this glass, so I'm actually going to use a couple smaller ice cubes. Throw them in there, and then I'm using bourbon. Traditionally, I think it got to the point where people were either using bourbon or rye, and mostly they use rye, but I don't like rye, so I'm going to use bourbon. And then you just want a simple lemon twist, and you can, if you have a zester like this, you can use that. And when you're making a drink, remember what you want when you're making a twist is you want the colored part. So make sure your fruit's clean, and it's a twist. So twist it in there. You're getting the oils in there. You put it in there, You can get yourself a little stir it up, and then the traditional garnish is a lemon, orange, and a cherry, and that's the classic whiskey cocktail version of an old fashioned. So now, the version that I used to make when I was tending bar, you could do it right in the glass, but I'm going to do it in a shaker. And again, you don't have to have a cocktail glass. You can use a mason jar or a big glass, or like I said, you can make it right in the glass. So again, it's going to be a spoon of sugar. Doesn't have to be a lot of sugar. A dash or two of bitters. And then I'm going to put in the orange in. The cherry I'm going to put in with just a little bit of the cherry juice. Again, a little splash of water. I'm going to take the same muddler, a wooden spoon, and this is called muddling the fruit. What you're doing is you're just kind of grinding it up a little bit and smashing it up and getting those juices and stuff out of there. And the orange, I got rind and all because there's flavor in the rind. So you just want to grind that up a little bit as best you can. And once you have that done, again, a couple ice cubes, same 2 ounces of bourbon. Take your cocktail spoon, or you can even, if you want, you could shake this if you have a cocktail shaker, or you know what, throw it in a mason jar, put the lid on it and shake it up that way. So you just get that mixed up, and then put it in the same cocktail glass, fruit and all. You want that mashed up fruit in there because that's what kind of makes the drink. Now some people fish out the orange rind. I don't. I think it's fine. And again, if you want, you can put another little twist of lemon in there. With your stir. And that is your muddled old fashioned. So we have two versions. Whether you like it classic or you like it newfangled. But either way, an old fashioned is a classic American cocktail that you can make and just sip on for a couple hours, and it's a great drink. So I hope you like this little happy hour. You know, tell me some of the kind of drinks that you guys like to make, or you'd like to know how to make, and I'll do one for you each and every Friday. Hopefully tell you a little bit of history about the drink. Maybe you have a drink that you like and you don't even know where it came from. So I hope you enjoyed this. I'm just going to sit back with my old fashioned, enjoy the rest of the evening, and I hope you guys do as well. So until I see you next time, remember, take care of yourself and your home. Cheers.